Hello everybody, Steve here from CFC with another video. And people have been talking to me both, or asking me both online and in person with questions regarding narcissism. And in our short career here at CSC, that's been our most viewed videos on narcissism. So I thought I would do another one as it relates to the church, and that in addition to narcissism, I believe anyway, being in epidemic proportions, spreading in epidemic proportions in society as a whole, unfortunately has also affected the church. And this in large part is due to the fact that a lot of pastors have narcissistic tendencies themselves, and then it just kind of, I don't know if it spreads or if it encourages the narcissism that's already present in people. But in any case, these narcissistic pastors do narcissistic things, and it affects the congregation, it affects the church. And if you notice, most of these narcissistic pastors are usually authoritarian in nature. They, what they say goes in most cases. They don't have any accountability in terms of people that they have to answer to. And a lot of these narcissistic churches are independent churches where there's no governing body. And now I'm not saying that, one way or another, whether governing bodies are good or bad. It depends mostly on the people who are governing the church and the pastors who are in spiritual authority in these churches. So it's not necessarily the system, it's the people within the system that makes it good or bad. But usually in these churches, they have a narcissistic pastor, and he's usually authoritarian, and sometimes it's overt, sometimes it's covert, but in all cases it's always, they're the ones who make the big decisions regarding which way the church goes, where the money goes, and so forth and so on. They are takers and not givers, and usually it's all about them, even though they may claim something else. So to give you an example, a pastor wants a new car, or in the case of the mega churches, they want new planes. They can't ride on a plane with everybody else. They need to have their own means of flying and going around the world and the country. And they're not really thinking what's best for the church, at least financially speaking, but they're thinking about their own comfort and their own method of ease of traveling. And so 9 times out of 10, this pastor is narcissistic because they are thinking of themselves. They have no empathy for the members. Many times they don't even know if the members have needs because they're not asking. They're not inquiring within their own congregations who has needs and who doesn't have needs, or who might be struggling at a particular time in their life. So in most cases, they're really only thinking about themselves. They might claim to be selfless and have people's good intentions at heart, but usually that's not the case. For example, I'll give you another example, which probably is a more down-to-earth example. Say there's a sick member in the church. Will that pastor come and see you? He might come to see you, and I've seen this demonstrated myself many times, they will come to see you, but inevitably in their coming to see you is always about themselves. Like, oh yeah, I went to see Sister So-and-so in church, and they say that, and then, on Sunday they're talking about it, and they like all the accolades they receive for going to see Sister So-and-so. Whereas a person who doesn't have those narcissistic tendencies will do it on the down low. They won't even say that they went to see Sister So-and-so. They might encourage other members to see, hey, go see we'd like you to go see Sister so-and-so in the hospital, just to encourage her, just to, A, B, or C. They won't make a big deal that they have gone to see Sister so-and-so. And so, like in my other videos, I would tell you that if you find that your pastor has these narcissistic tendencies and is doing things and showing no empathy and no true Christian love and Christian stewardship, I would advise you to leave, because unless the pastor is accountable, then the church is, like I said, 9 times out of 10 is going to go downhill. The church may have all the accoutrements and nice building, nice looking things on the outside, but on the inside it will slowly rot. So, my suggestion to you is that you pray, ask the Lord. Not only ask the Lord, use your own common sense and see where the church is at, see where it's going. Is it centered all around one person, basically? Is it controlled by one person? Then chances are that pastor is operating under narcissistic tendencies and principles, and it's only going to get worse. Narcissism, unfortunately, unless God heals a person directly, narcissism is something that doesn't go away, because it feeds a person's ego, it feeds a person's need, and one of the best ways to get your narcissistic supply is to have other members who are praising you and lifting you up and building you up no matter what you do. Good or bad, these people will build you up and feed your narcissistic supply. And a church is almost a never-ending bastion of narcissistic supply. So it's very hard for these individuals. I've seen it up close. It's very hard for these individuals to change. And most of them perhaps didn't start out this way, but their narcissism was fed until now it's a beast unto itself. So that's my video today. I'll do some more videos on some narcissistic tendencies within churches and pastors. But that's my take today. That narcissism grows in these individuals, and that you can pretty much spot it right away, but if you need to pray about it, please do pray about it, and please do go to a healthy, well-balanced church where the pastor is genuinely concerned, where the pastor is accountable to the members, and if in the case of a particular denomination, this pastor is accountable to members of his denomination as well. So thank you for listening. Please feel free to support us. We have a Patreon page in the link below. We're just trying to grow the ministry and get some equipment and things that we need. And please do pray for us. And lastly, if you have questions, comments, please do leave them in the comments field. Subscribe to our show, and we're going to be bringing you a lot of interesting content, and we want to make sure it's relevant, and we want you to feel free to ask questions on our page. So thanks. We'll see you again next time.